step right up and get your tickets for another moment in gaming history. Hello, I'm the GeekStorian. Welcome to the channel, or if you're new here, officially welcome to the channel. What I have for you today is what I call moments in gaming history. This is where I go into various different moments over the course of gaming and discuss the impact of them across the generations. What I have for you today is something rather interesting and something that's impacted gaming almost as much, if not more so, than the console itself. And that's gaming on the go. We're going to talk about the first handheld game, its impact on the market, and how it and many other people took this market and it went off even more, if not as much so, as console gaming. So stick around. This one should be quite a bit of fun. It should come as no surprise that people love video games. They love to play them in arcades, at home, and even on the go. Look at any given cell phone and you're going to find more than a handful of games on it. And that got me thinking, when did mobile games start? What did they look like? Well, today we're going to take a small glimpse into the world of handheld gaming and dig up one of the earliest examples of its kind. Take a look at how it worked and discuss how important they were to the growth of the industry. Now, like most things in the early days of the industry, the origins of the handheld gaming market is tied to, well, Pong. Yeah, I know. It's like most things are tied to gaining popularity due to Pong and only Pong. More specifically, in this case, the tabletop unit. This was a small unit that would sit on a coffee table and hook up to the TV. Then it acted as a console and controller for the unit, allowing you to play, well, Pong. The downside to this, and many games like it, was the fact that they're still tied to the TV, which really isn't a handheld now, is it? Then something happened. Calculators started to use optoelectric displays, which were basically the old red LED calculators. I know this doesn't make a lot of sense now, but it will. Stick with me. George J. Close, a product development engineer with Mattel, came up with the concept of repurposing standard calculator hardware to create an electronic game. What he proposed was using individual display segments known as blips that would move on the display, and I do stress move. He decided to model the first game after the popular racing games in the arcades of the 1970s, coming up with the idea of Auto Race. He began working on a proof-of-concept prototype demonstrating the small blip moving on an LED display without using a microprocessor. Once he had successfully proven that, he got approval to fund a provider for a circuit board that would fit into the compact package. Close and his manager Richard Chang approached the microelectronics division of Rockwell International, who was a lead designer of handheld calculator chips. This is where they met Mark Lesser, a circuit designer at the company who jumped at the chance to write the software for Auto Race. He redesigned an existing calculator chip to include a display driver and a special sound driver for the speaker, then began writing the whole thing in assembly language, which, for those of you who don't know, is a very low-level language that's about as close to talking to the computer directly in ones and zeros as you can get. The whole program was made more challenging by the fact that it had to fit into a mere 512 bytes of ROM allowed by the chip itself. Alright, enough about the development. What did the gameplay like, you ask? Well, the player's car was represented by a bright blip at the bottom of the screen. The player would have to make it toward the top, swerving past other cars, using the switch at the bottom of the system to toggle between one of 3 lanes. The goal was to basically get to the top 4 times before the timer ran out. If you got hit, you'd move back until you're out of the other car's way. You had to beat the game by getting up to the top 4 times before the 99-second timer ran out, which was the highest the 2-digit timer could do and get the shortest time possible. You could also change gears in the game, with the higher gear making the cars move faster at the player. I know this doesn't look like much by today's standards, and you'd be right. This could hardly be considered a game, but something this small was a very big step forward in the industry. And at the time, it worked. The game sold really well. Other manufacturers were clamoring to get in on some of the action, with Coleco, Parker Brothers, and Milton Bradley, to name a few, jumping in on the handheld market and starting to change the way we game forever. Well, there you go, guys. That was the first gaming handheld. I know, it's hard to believe how far things have come in a very short time. When you think about it, that was 1976. And here we are in 2022 with things like a Steam Deck. It's pretty ridiculous how quickly technology has evolved. But what did you guys think of this one? Did you think this was a cool start? Did it mostly look like a janky calculator? Did you ever get to play with one? Did you play with anything similar like the football one that came after it? And what did you think of that one? Let me know in the comments. And while you're there, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe. Also hit that notification bell. That way you know when I drop things. Thank you for spending part of your day with me, and until next time, happy gaming.